Please take your seats. The show is about to begin. Murder in the first degree. Premeditated homicide is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, and it is now your duty to sit down and try to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you. The jury will now retire.
You'd think they'd at least air condition the place. I almost dropped dead before.
My taxes are high enough, thank you.
This should go fast anyway. It's really hot.
All right, folks, looks like everybody's here. If there's anything you need, I'll be right outside this door. Just knock.
Hey, did he just lock that door?
Yes, he did.
What does he think, we're a bunch of crooks or something?
No, they only lock us in there for a little while.
Huh? Oh, well, you know what? That's all right with me. They lock us up for a little while, we lock that kid up for the rest of his life.
I never knew they did that.
Oh, yeah, sure. They locked the door. What do you think?
It just never occurred to me.
Shall we all admit right now that it's hot and humid, our tempers are short? It's been a pretty hard week.
No, I feel just fine.
You know, I wonder what's been going down at the office. I mean, you know how it is in advertising. 6 days is my job to be gone, the whole damn company too. Yeah, they aren't gonna like this.
Think of it as this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned I might not have a job when I get back.
Oh, you don't have a job, why don't you ask this guy? He's rich, look at that suit.
Is that Custom Taylor?
Yes, it is.
No, I have an uncle who's a tailor.
What does he do?
Well, not too well. You know, a friend of his, that's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. This friend actually wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
You get caught? You know what kind of fine I would have to pay for something like that? Anyway, this friend, about 10 years ago, ended up serving on a jury, a similar case, just like this one. What up? Let him off. Reasonable doubt. You know something? About 8 years later, found out they actually did it. And they just started loose in the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
Man can't be held in double jeopardy unless it's a hung jury. You can't try a man twice for the same crime.
Oh,
Hey, that isn't gonna happen here.
6 days. 6 days. This thing should have been done in 2. Talk. Never hear so much talk about nothing.
Well, I suppose, you know, they are entitled.
Oh yeah, everybody's entitled to a fair trial, right? Huh? That's our system. Can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? Did
Did you ever do a full install?
Oh, you gotta expect that, you know, when you deal with it.
He bought a switch like that night.
And then he lost
A hole in his pocket?
a hole in his arm.
Why did they kill your father? A knife in the chest?
Well, look at the kind of people you're dealing with. You know them.
You got a cold?
Ah, ooh, these summer colds are killing you, I tell you.
I know. I had one last year while I was on vacation too.
All right, we say we take our seats, folks, we'll get started.
Right, this better be fast. I got tickets to the Yankees and Dodgers tonight. I must be the only guy who hasn't seen a game yet. With me. Yeah. Your Honor, start the show.
Excuse me. Sir? We're just about to get started. Take a seat, we'll wrap it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, it's tough to figure, isn't it? I mean, this kid kills his father big, just like that. It's the element, you know? They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There are better proofs than some emotion you might feel. Perhaps it's dislike for some group.
We all agree that it was hot.
And our tempers will be short.
Yeah, that's only if we disagree. I mean, this case is open and shut, right? Let's just get it done.
Well, I'm not gonna make up any rules. You can do it however you like, but I figure we can go one of two ways. We can discuss it and then vote, or we can vote now and see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Let's see who's where.
Yeah, let's hold on.
All right, let's vote.
Is there anybody here that doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
All right, show of hands, all those in favor of guilty. That's 11. And not guilty.
Oh, hey, you're on left field, pal.
Okay. That's 11-1, favor of guilty.
Did you really think he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I can learn calculus. This is ABC.
I mean,
I don't believe that it's as simple as
I've
ABC.
never seen a guilty man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he's guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
Look, pal, you sat in the courtroom. You heard everything we heard. You saw everything we saw. The guy's a dangerous killer. You can see it.
Where do you look to see that a man is a killer?
Oh, wow.
I would like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know. Look, what is it about this case that makes you think the boy is innocent? He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He stabbed his own father 4 inches to the chest. Poor little innocent kid.
While I agree with you that the kid is guilty, let's stay away from emotionally charged arguments.
Look, they proved it 12 different ways in the courtroom. You want me to list them out to you?
No.
Well, do you believe the stupid story he told?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy out to die without talking about it first.
Who says it was easy for me?
Or me. No one.
He's just as guilty whether an easy vote or a hard one.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
I think the guy's guilty. You could have changed my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Well, what are you thinking?
I want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life, you know? Living in a slum. His mother's dead since he was 9 years old. It's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way? Because you knock them over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe if you owe them a few words. That's all. All right, sure. It's hard. It was hard for me. Everything I got, I fought for. I worked my way through college. It was a long time ago, and perhaps you do for me. I fought, but I never killed.
No, I know what it's like, but I never killed nobody.
You know, I've been kicked around too. Just wait until you work on ad agency and the big boy that buys the advertising walks in. We all know.
In my country, in Europe, kicking was a science. Let's find something better than that.
Look, mister, I don't mind telling you this, but we don't owe this kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown-ups here, okay? You're not gonna tell us that we're supposed to believe him, knowing what he is. I mean, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing to say about somebody. When is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
Look, buddy, it's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man says is very dangerous.
I don't see why we need to be arguing like this. Why can't we behave like gentlemen?
Right.
Oh, all right, this is.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
Yes, I agree. We all have a job to do, so let's do it.
If you all don't mind, excuse me. If you all don't mind, I'm going to turn off the fan.
If you don't mind, I'd like the fan open.
But it was blowing on my neck.
Don't you want a little air? It's summer, it's hot.
But it was making me uncomfortable.
There are 12 of us in this room. It's the only fan, if you don't mind.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade seats with someone at the other end of the table?
All right.
Very well. I am willing to trade seats if someone is willing to do that.
Yes, please come take my chair.
Going back to the case?
Let's.
You know, I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud. It seems to me that it's our job to convince this man that we're right and he's wrong. How about we all just go around and talk for a minute or two, you know, just try to emphasize?
That sounds fair to me.
Yeah, it's very fair.
So, okay. Let's just, go in usual order, suppose we can start with you.
Me? Well, I just thought he was guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I didn't know he proved otherwise.
No one has to prove otherwise. It's innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. It's in the Constitution. The Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it. Yes, everyone has.
Yes, of course, I heard the Fifth Amendment. I know what it is. I just think he's guilty.
No reasons. Just guilty. There is a life at stake here.
All right, you want the facts? Let's start with the first one, shall we? Let's start with the old man that lived on the second floor. You know, right under where the murder took place. He says that, 12:10, he heard a noise. Sounded like a fight. About a minute later, he hears the kid scream out, "I'm gonna kill you!" After that, he hears the body hit the floor. So he goes running outside into the hallway to see if he can see anything. And he sees the kid running down the stairs out into the street. So he calls the cops. When the cops get there, they find the father dead on the floor with a knife sticking out of his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Yeah, now that's not enough for you.
Something doesn't fit. The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claims he went to the movies. Now, that's a little ridiculous, don't you think? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
That's absolutely right. You know, he's right.
And he didn't have any ticket stub either.
Who keeps a ticket stub at the movies? Well, that's true enough.
The cashier didn't remember
Yeah,
him.
the ticket taker didn't remember him either.
Yeah, wait a minute. What about the testimony of that woman across the street from him? If her testimony don't prove it, nothing does.
That's right, she saw the killing, didn't she?
Okay, all right, let's go in order here.
Wait a minute. Okay. So here's this woman, and she's lying in bed, and she can't sleep. It's hot, you know? And she wakes up, and she looks across the street, and right through her window, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
How could she be so sure that it was the boy she saw when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all his life. His window is directly opposite hers, right through the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it. She swore she did.
I heard her swear to it.
Right. And they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what happened on the other side. They proved it.
Weren't you telling us a moment or two ago that you can't trust them? That you can't believe them?
So?
Well, I've got a question for you. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
Oh, you're a pretty smart fella, aren't you?
Okay, hey, come on, take it easy.
Come on, now look. Why are you letting this guy get you so upset for? Huh? So just relax with us. Let's go get some wine. You're all right.
Look, they took us to the woman's apartment, and we looked through the windows of a passing elevated train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And we were able to see what happened on the other side.
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but I did see what happened on the other side.
You see? Do you see?
Okay, all right, fair point, let's just calm down and go back to where we were. It's your turn.
I'll pass.
Okay, that's your privilege. Miss, how about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced, with the testimony from those people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument that night between the father and the son around 7 o'clock? I mean, I could be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
Yes, at 8 o'clock, they heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right?
And what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's part of the picture. I just didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
What can I say? Most of it's been said already. We could talk all day about this thing, but I think we're wasting our time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Please go on.
Look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He was arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the army.
They did.
He was picked up for knife fighting. At 15, he was in a reform school.
And he went to reform school for stabbing the guy.
This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
But so would I with a kid like that.
Look, hey, I have a kid. Yeah, I have a kid. When he was 8 years old, right? When he was 8 years old, I saw him. He ran away from a fight. Never been so embarrassed in my life. So I told him right then and there, look, I'm gonna make a man out of you if I have to rip you doing it. So what happened? He turns 15, right? Who does he punch in the face? Me. Yeah, he takes off. I haven't seen him again. Tough kid, rotten kid. So you gotta watch out for these. They're all rotten. You give them your life. You rip your heart out for them. But what do? Never mind. This is just move on.
We're missing the point here. The kid, let's say he is the product of a filthy neighborhood in a broken home. We can't help it. We're not here to discuss reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it. You know it. The children that come out of slum environments are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want nothing to do with it. Believe me.
Oh, I've lived in a slum my whole life.
Oh, now wait a minute.
I used to play in backyards filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Let's be reasonable, there's nothing personal about it.
There is something personal.
Now calm down. We didn't mean you. Just stop being so sensitive.
Who did he mean?
I can understand this sensitivity.
Okay, let's stop the bicker.
You're wasting time.
Dave, it's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt that the defense counsel never conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
Well, it doesn't change my opinion of the guilt of the kid. I agree, defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
what about the facts?
So many questions were never answered.
Well, all right, well, what about the questions that were answered? Okay, let's take for instance, oh yeah, that cute little switchblade knife that your fine, upstanding young kid decided to buy, and he admits it.
All right, let's talk about it. Take a look at it. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
Oh, why do we gotta look at that thing again? Well, we all know what it looks like.
The gentleman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
All right, fine with me.
The knife is a pretty powerful piece of evidence, wouldn't you say?
I do.
All right, well, let's get the sequence of events right as they pertain to the switchblade.
The boy admits to leaving his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
More punch. Next, the boy went to a neighborhood store where he purchased a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
All right, look, I think we all agree that it's a very unusual knife, and that you wouldn't forget seeing something like that, right?
The storekeeper identified the knife. He said it was the only one of its kind that he had in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
So, next, the boy claims on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket. He never saw it. Now, that's a story, gentlemen. We all know what really happened. He went home with the knife, and a few hours later, he used it to stab his father. He even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to say that someone picked it up off the street and went up and stabbed the father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that it's possible that the boy did lose the knife, or someone else stabbed the father